Hey guys, it's Kim here with Fairily Fiber Fun. Thanks for joining me on episode 24. Today we will be talking a little bit about a vending opportunity that I participated in at the beginning of the month, some spins, a bunch of dye stuff. I'm surrounded by wool right now, and some new acquisitions. So before we get into the show, I want to give a warm welcome to all the new subscribers. May is always a very difficult month for my family, especially for me and my kids. All the subs, all the comments, all the interactions were a huge blessing, and I cannot tell you enough what you mean to me. It's just, you guys kept me going in a very difficult time, so thank you very much for being here and supporting me and what I do and supporting my family. So, yeah, if you are a returning viewer, welcome back, and thanks for continuing to watch and continuing to support Fairily Fiber Fun and my family through my YouTube channel. You'll have to pardon me, I have been sick and I'm exhausted, and it is currently my bedtime, and I don't have any show notes. This is kind of spur of the moment, so please bear with me. Excellent closing to a horrid and crazy and fun month. All the good things, all the bad things. It's a roller coaster month. If you have not subscribed yet, please do, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. And if you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up, and please do leave comments down in the comment section below. I love reading them. I love responding to them. And there are days when those comments are what keep me motivated to keep moving and doing. So y'all are awesome. I just want you to know that you're incredibly awesome and important to me. So let's start with the beginning of the month. So on May 8th, we had our spring festival in town. It's called Toast of Toccoa. It used to be Taste, but they've since changed it. And the art guild that I became a member of 2 days prior to that, they're very interested in my spinning and in putting my fiber art stuff in their store. They're very generous. They also want me to start teaching drop spindle classes, so I do have some drop spindles, but I'm not going to show them to you because they're in another room and I really don't feel like getting up. I bought 12 drop spindles, and so now I can work on getting those classes together, which I expect to be teaching sometime in August. I have to talk to the guild again and make sure I coordinate with the people there running the guild. So anyways, lots of opportunities. I ended up bringing my spinning wheel to the festival and did some spinning there. It was a lot of fun. I didn't do any vending because 2 days is not enough time to be prepared in any sort of way. So I just demonstrated spinning, and I must have talked to 200 people. It was a huge day. It was loads of fun, and it was exhausting. It took me 2 weeks to recover. And at the end of that 2 weeks, I was thoroughly depressed because the middle of the month is the anniversary of my darling husband's passing that happened 5 years ago. And so May is just always a difficult month. So I feel like I never completely recovered from the vending because as soon as it was over with, I was into the depression. And then my family got sick again. It's spring. Colds happen. My daughter got a cold. It turned into bronchitis. I have symptoms now, so I'm taking medicine, and it's like I just feel awful, and this is a perfect ending to an already roller coaster month. But anyway, so that happened, and that was fun. The whole festival thing was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, and I was glad to have a low pressure kind of introduction to vending, I guess. And I found out that a lot of the artists at this particular guild are really sweet people, and I enjoy chatting with them. And yeah, it was a major social day. It's the first big social day this county has had in quite some time, and there was just a lot of people there. It was very crowded. I've seen it worse, but it was still a lot of people.
You got to give me 3 more years. I got to retire from my job. Unfortunately, this fall, 3 more years of the Morning. Take it back.
Morning.
Yeah, I never saw anyone actually use one. What's the raw material you're feeding into it?
It is wool.
Really?
Yes, it's Gulf Coast wool. Gulf Coast are a heritage breed. They are endangered, and they are perfect for the hot, humid south, the weather we have here. So they're hoof rot resistant, and they don't have fur or wool on their bellies and legs, so they don't get overheated. Pretty neat.
Yeah. Wow, that's very cool.
And out of the 100 or 200 people that stopped to talk, only 2 had any idea what I was doing. And those 2 absolutely made my day. So anyway, now we're going to skip down to a few days ago when my friend Dana and I, it was actually last Saturday, went to a farm that is right up the road from me. Wicked, I always want to say wild. It's Wicked Child Jacobs in Toccoa. And as the name suggests, she's got Jacob sheep. And I'm thinking, you know, you assume as a spinner when you meet a new sheep farmer that the wool is going to be awful. You just assume it. Well, I was as wrong as you can be. That wool, I bought 10 fleeces from her. She had 14, I believe, fleeces. I bought 10 of them, and I bought all the roving. She had 14 pounds of roving, and I bought it all. So here's right here some of this. I'll just pick up the whole bag. It's amazing. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. So the bags are mixed. The wool was processed at Spirit Fiber Works, where I used to volunteer. And I think I actually worked on this. I think I was scouring some of this wool last year. So this is all, the roving is from last year, the fleeces are from this year. And the shepherdess, she's like, I can't sell it. And she was really happy to have me bring some home. So I sent some home with my friend Dana, who had joined me for the farm tour. Oh, and this lady has some beautiful Great Danes. Oh my gosh, they're gorgeous dogs. And those are the biggest lap dogs in the world. And Dana got smothered. They were all trying to sit on her. It was so funny. She was petting all 3 of them at once. I'll insert a picture of that here. But anyway, it was a great day. I really enjoyed visiting the farm. Then we went out to lunch, and then we swung by Ashling Booksellers in town, which is one of the best stores in town. And Dana picked up a couple of books and some herbal tea. Beautiful place. They have a little cafe in there, and it's just one of my favorite places to hang out. Anyway, Dana took some of the roving home to play with, and all the fleeces, because I'm supposed to go down there in a couple of days. And actually, I will have already done that by the time you see this. But anyway, I was going to go down there, and we're going to skirt the fleeces on her skirting table that we made. And then I'll have some pictures to share with you guys later. So I actually started spinning up some of this, and I'll insert a picture. But I am blown away at how incredible this Jacob is. I mean, it's just, wow. The softest, finest. Dana spun some, and she put pictures up on Instagram, and immediately somebody, I had said, you know, if you want to if anybody wants some, I said it on Instagram, it's X amount per ounce. Once it's in the shop, it's going to be more than that. Just message me. So I got this random message from somebody that I didn't even know, and they were like, I want 6 ounces. So I shipped off 6 ounces this week. Immediately. I was really pleased with that, and it's worth it. It's beautiful fiber. I think it's a close comparison with Jen Johnson's soft Shetland wool, and I have sampled her roving, her top, and her bats, and that is some of the finest, softest, most amazing wool in the world. And this Jacob comes in at the same level of quality, not quite the same silky softness, but the same quality. So really high up there. This lady takes excellent care of her sheep. So let's quit waxing poetic about the Jacob. I'm in love with it. So I did a whole bunch of other spinning, and I am in the process of filming spinning classes. So some of the spinning that I did was for that, and still on a borrowed wheel. Oh, I didn't tell you. Yes, at the festival, my antique wheel broke. I managed to get her back together again, but she's not 100%, so I've ordered a new wheel, and she will be arriving in about a week or two. Yay! Magic-Craft Rose. You'll get an unboxing, don't worry. But in the meantime, I did finish one of the spins I was filming on Dana's wheel. Thank you so much, Dana. She has an Ashford Traveler. I have to say it is a beginner wheel, and I'm not a beginner spinner, and it's not the type of wheel for me, but it's perfect for filming classes because it forces me to slow down everything that I do, which is important for filming detailed drafting and managing the fiber and stuff like that. So really appreciate having that wheel to work with while waiting on the rose to get here. You guys have probably seen an identical skein to this. This is the first skein of yarn that I spun on the Ashford Traditional. It is another gradient bat from the April IBY, Inspired by You, that I did that Beth of Sheepcoat Farm won, and it's from her sheep that won 3rd place at the county fair in 2018. So yeah, the sheep didn't win the prize, the fleece won the prize. So anyway, I have 2 more bats, and Beth specifically requested that I knit her a hat out of it, and I didn't think 90 something yards would be enough to knit a hat, so I spun up another identical skein, ended up with 100 yards, and the other 2 bats, I think I want to spin them to separate bobbins and then 2-ply them and just kind of see how the gradient works out that way. There will be some marling and barber pulling and stuff, but I'm really curious to see how it'll do as a 2-ply. And then I did a sample, I can't talk about that yet. That's last. I have Clun Forest on that wheel. I have Jacob on the antique wheel. I spun this up in April, but I plied it the other day for the class because it was some fiber I had run through the mill, and it had come out with alpaca, dark brown alpaca. And I thought the machine was clean, but it wasn't. So it's Gulf Coast and alpaca blend, and I made gradient bats out of it, and I took the darkest and the lightest and I spun them up, and then I 2-plied it because I wanted a dark and a light to showcase the twist in the plying. And then I had some of the dark left over. The dark is the highest percentage of alpaca, and the lightest is the lowest percentage of alpaca with Gulf Coast. So that's actually a really pretty yarn. And I had a lot of fun making it, and it doesn't have the bounce that I was hoping for because there's a lot of alpaca in there, so that makes it much more drapey. But I have two other bats that are kind of in between these because I did the gradient, you know, so I have the two in the middle. And I want to see how they compare with this. Also, this was some of the leftovers. I wanted all of this skein to be light and dark plied together. So when I ran out of the light, I just finished up plying, and then I just broke it off when I was winding the skein, because this was the last bit I plied. It was the first bit I put on the skein winder. Anyway, I ended up with 120 yards of 2-ply. I don't know how much it weighs. This weighs an ounce. This weighs far less than that. So I'm really surprised at the yardage. It spun very, very lightly. The alpaca does not require a ton of twist, so it is a low twist yarn for me. And then I've been at the festival. I was spinning this black alpaca. It's not alpaca. The festival, I was spinning this black Gulf Coast, which is very, very brown because of the sunburnt tips. Let's keep it back here. Anyway, these are supposed to be 4-ounce skeins or 100-gram skeins. I have 235 yards and 314, so I believe I have more than 100 grams in this one, because they are, it's a little bit thinner, but they are very similar. But this one feels heavier, so I did something weird. Either my scale did something weird or I did something weird when I was at the festival, and I spun up the wrong amount. I think I don't know what I did. I did something weird. Anyway, so there's a extra yarn in one of those. And then I have another skein of the really fine Gulf Coast yarn I finally washed. It is in 100 grams. I will reweigh this, so I'm not 100% positive. It's 320 yards of 2-ply. This is from the Woolpool stuff that I divided by fiber softness, and this is the softest, finest stuff. And it's super squishy, but then Gulf Coast is just super squishy. Let's get that light on there just right there. You can see all that definition in the yarn. It's one of the characteristics of Gulf Coast. I just love it. So there's that. Did I tell you that this was Tunis? I don't know if I remember. I don't remember if I told you. I can't talk. Anyway, last but not least, I spun up a color sample that I had dyed. I've been dyeing up elements. So we have earth, air, water, fire, and in the water one turned out all wrong. So I spun up a sample just to see how it would do, and I really like how it looks with the light shining off of it. This is Ida top. Ida. My sister speaks German. She says the R is kind of a somewhere between H and an R, kind of a breathy R at the end. Anyway, this is a really cool fiber to play with. It's quite bouncy and squishy. So I did is this the 3-ply? Yeah, I chain plied this one just because. And I have a 2-ply sample that I haven't washed, I haven't skeined up. It's on a storage bobbin right now. I like it, it's pretty, but this is not what I envisioned when I envisioned water. So I did, this is the, what the dye, is it this one or this one? This one. It's got little bits of purple and green in here. So this is what the braid actually looks like dyed up, and this is what it looks like spun. It's pretty, it's just not what I was looking for. That makes a pretty nice little collar there, doesn't it? Alright, so when I did that one, I had extra, when I did this dye, I had extra blue mixed up. So I went ahead and dyed royal blue. We have to see those together. It does look a little different. So we have the royal blue leftover dye that I have not done any spinning. I only have 2 braids of this. I think just 2. I might have 4. You know, I don't know where half of this stuff ran off to. I put it somewhere. Anyway. So I redid water. I kind of like using my neck as the showcase. So it's got a lot of definition, a lot of tonal variation for the blue, and it's got some purple, some pink, some green, little hints of color. This is what I was going for the water element. This is it. It's perfect. And I did 2 versions of the air element and decided to go with this one because it is what I envisioned to begin with. It goes from blue to purple to pink with loads of white in there because it's the sky. That's what I had in mind for air. Here's the other version that I didn't like as much. It's cute and all, but that's not quite what I was going for. So this will be used in blending or something. And then all these are so far on Ida Top. Here is Earth, which I attempted to make a deep red rust type brown. Failed miserably. This brown here was a mixture of purple and green. No. Purple and pumpkin orange, jacquard. Equal parts purple and pumpkin orange, and it turned the most beautiful brown. This is a whole bunch of different colors, and it didn't work right. That's okay. In Georgia, there's red clay, right? And then we have some bluish stuff in here. This is actually a green dye that broke and turned more blue, and then we have green, 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 and really bright Kelly green down here at the end. So super pretty earth element right here. I love it. Not sure how I'm going to recreate that brown, but I shall try it. And last but not least is fire, which again I messed up because I used burgundy instead of platinum. Platinum was supposed to go right here. This is burgundy right here. So that's not what I was going for, but it works. And it's just so neat. I love this one. So those are the elements. And I got some new dyes. I usually use jacquard. I've sampled Dharma dyes, acid dyes, and I ordered dyes from Pro Chemical. So these are the Pro Chem dyes. All the colors that I bought. And it's way too much, but I did a sample with citric acid and with, is it ammonium sulfate? I think it slows the dye absorption down, and then you have to add citric acid later. Anyway, I prefer it with just citric acid. It's really pretty. So I've got a couple of different orange browns. I have iris and I don't even remember. Anyway, I've got a lot of colors in here. A couple of different reds. Yeah. Actually, that's plum. That's not red. So that is all the Ida Top that I dyed. I also ordered a whole bunch more fiber from Ashland Bay. It was my first purchase as a distributor for Ashland Bay, and it was a biggie. So my first dye job, I would I ordered Corriedale Cross, and they don't tell you what it's crossed with. They just say it's Corriedale Cross. And then Cheviot and mixed BFL, which the mixed BFL is actually 75%, I believe, white BFL and 25% black, or it's 85-15, something like that. So it's like a layered comb top. You can see the strips of color, and it's really, really pretty. I haven't dyed any of that yet, the BFL. But it's super, super pretty. So what I started dyeing was the Corriedale Cross. And I made these gorgeous colors. But when I was washing the fiber to try and get all the excess dye out and everything, I felted it. I was a little bit too rough because I'm used to fibers that resist felting. And it matted up. Now I can get it apart. I did some work on the blending board last night and was able to work with this fiber, but I don't feel comfortable just selling braids of matted fiber in my shop. So these first ones won't go in the shop. Not like this. They'll go in bat form or something. Or I'll just spin them up. So I tried again, and I did a totally different dye approach. I was very careful not to move it around in the water when washing. It came out absolutely perfect. This is gold, iris, plum, and leaf green, I believe. All Pro Chem dyes. And I love how this turned out. It's so, so pretty. Currently drying, so I can't show it to you yet, is the Cheviot I've been dyeing in the elements, and using my new and improved way of dyeing fiber, of washing dyed fiber so that it doesn't felt. That stuff's coming out so fluffy, and it's really, really pretty. Cheviot takes dye differently than Corriedale Cross. The Corriedale doesn't seem to want to absorb the dye. So Ida takes the dye like wow bright. Cheviot, it just strikes really fast. And Corriedale Cross is like, the dye just wants to kind of hang out in the dye pan. So it's really, really interesting to see how each fiber manages the dye. And what's hilarious to me is the Corriedale Cross is the whitest. You know, it's a very light cream, while the other ones are more creamy colored. And you get the least amount of dye absorption, or the least bright color on the Corriedale Cross. At least that's my experience so far. I will continue to play with these fibers and see what happens. And that leads me to the why I'm dyeing all this stuff, why I bought all this fiber. Because I am working really hard to get into the WAFA group on Facebook. It's Woolen Fiber Arts. And I am hoping to be a vendor for them very, very soon. But it depends on if I can get in to the list of vendors. So Memorial Day is the day I can apply for the July vending. So in a month, you will know whether I'm vending in July or not when I give that update. And no promises, but I'm going to try to do a big shop update video mid-month. We're going to consider this shop update because all the earth elements on Ida Top are currently in the shop, and the new fibers are in the shop undyed as both 4 ounce and 1 pound increments, and I'll throw some pictures in here so you can see what those all look like. They're already in the shop. The Jacob roving is in the shop. I am working on getting hand spun yarn listed in the shop. It takes a long time. I have, I think, 5 skeins of the brown Gulf Coast, and the third one has been finished. It just needs to be washed, and then I have a few more to do. And the Gulf Coast yarn is on pre-order, so it's made to order right now. I just don't have, I have prices by weight, by 100 gram skeins, if it's fingering 2-ply, fingering 3-ply, sport 2-ply, sport 3-ply, that sort of stuff. So you can pick which type of yarn you want. And I will be throwing some random skeins into the shop as I finish making them and get a selection. Whew. So I think that's about it. And except for the pictures, I bought a couple other things and I'm looking at them right now, but I don't feel like getting up and showing them to you. I bought a spinner control card. I'll go get it. Okay, since I got up, I went ahead and wanted to show you. I wanted to go ahead and show you the Cradle Cross fibers that I slightly felted in the wash. I used the blending board last night, and I layered the color on and then dizzed it off. And this chunk was just all that was left at the end of the dizzing, and I took it off. So it's soft and it's fluffy and it's very easy to use. So it just takes processing the dyed top a little bit to get it loose and fun to spin. So this will be spun with all the roving I made in a video at some point soon. I did film that, and it is going out shortly. Excuse me, fuzz in my mouth. I bought a spinner control card off of Amazon from Fiber Sprite. It's a little sheep, I could not resist. It's got the wraps per inch yarn thickness gauge, and it's actually grooves built into the wood. And then it has the twist angle, depending on which direction you've spun your yarn. And it is a diz, but if you know anything about dizzes, having this big thing with a diz on one end really is not very great. I used this on the blending board last night and I struggled. The holes are all bigger than I'm used to, and it's just kind of awkward to have this sheep flopping around while you're trying to make roving. But I didn't buy it because it was a diz. I bought it for the twist angle tool here, and I love this. All right. Next acquisition, Spinner's Book of Yarn Design. I have the e-copy of this book. I bought it because at the time I couldn't afford the hard copy, and it was more expensive than it is now. Also, it was 3 years ago, I think, and it did not have Hauser yarn in it, which is what I bought the book for. Hauser yarn is in the hard copy. So I am really pleased. Hauser. 92. No wonder I was past it. It's 92 through 95. So Hauser plying. Look, it says it right there. This book has it. It's not in my ebook. I have looked and looked and looked. I've looked through every single page. In fact, I suspect the ebook only has about half the information that's in this physical copy. And I gotta show you something super, super cool. If I can get it open without ripping anything. Comes with, it's actually the first time I've taken them out, cards. These are like recipe cards for how to, reference cards to make certain yarns, and they're like front and back, and a twist angle thingamajigger, which I didn't even know this was in the book. So I was looking through the book yesterday or the day before, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's something in the back. What is that? Anyway, every single yarn design in the book has a card. If you don't have this book and you're a hand spinner, you need to get this book. You totally need to get it. It's amazing. So it is by Sarah Anderson, and don't get the e-version. I mean, you can if you want to. If you are an ebook fanatic, go ahead and get the e-version, but I am a physical copybook person. I like to hold books in my hand, and I like to be able to sit there and flip through pages and go back and forth, and it's just really hard to do that in an ebook and keep up with where you're going. Or if it isn't that difficult, I haven't figured it out yet. I think that's everything. I think that's it for the month of May. It has been, like I said at the beginning of the video, a very rough month, and that's just how it is. It's normal. Not normal for everybody, but you know what's the worst thing about spring in the South? Eye allergies. They make the corner of my eye itch so bad. Anyways, and I take allergy medicine every day to be able to see, because my eyes get so, just like this thick film over them, I can't see out of them. Anyways, moving on. So I look forward to talking to you about the future vending stuff in the classes, and I will be launching Patreon on New Year's 2022 for the video classes that I'm currently filming. They cover the basics of carding fleece, different types of fleece, and then the basics of how to spin, how to get to know your wheel, troubleshooting a little bit, and then they go into, they cycle back around to the dyeing and the carding and the spinning. It keeps going and going and going. I have 3 years worth of content planned out for these classes, and that's with 6 uploads a month to Patreon. So 6 videos a month for 3 years. That's a lot of content to create, and I want to get way ahead of the game before I launch. I've done all of the first set of carding classes, and I'm working on the spinning classes now, and then I will do dyeing classes after that. And since I have tons and tons and tons of wool to dye, I don't think I'll run out of materials or ideas. So, and then it'll be, the next session will be more along the lines of color management at the drum carder, and then color management at the wheel. And then after that, we'll go into different sort of spinning techniques and styles, and we'll really dig into that. And so everything just builds upon the previous. And the idea is to start you off on a foundation and gradually build you up until you are able to do anything you want to in the fiber arts. And the only thing I'm not teaching is blending board and felting. I think blending board, everything you do on the blending board you can do on the drum carder, but you can do so much more with the drum carder than you can with the blending board. So I feel like it would just kind of defeat the purpose. So I'm doing blending board videos on YouTube for you guys, more along the lines of what my classes are like, with the amount of detail I'm putting into them, but not quite, because my classes are unique and they are much more in depth than any of my other public YouTube videos. So all that to say, you have to wait until New Year's to watch any of those. I'm sorry, y'all. I tried so hard to film a crap ton of videos in a month or 2 or 3 and launch in the summer, and it's not going to happen. Life keeps getting in the way, and I have you guys who are my loyal followers and my family, and y'all need the constant, the regular, not constant, regular uploads here on YouTube, because y'all are important and you deserve regular, ongoing videos. You know what? I've rambled enough. I'm just gonna go. It is way past my bedtime, and I have been talking to this camera for who knows how long now. camera says about 42 minutes. Some of that will be edited out because I'm rambling horribly. Anyways, I hope I didn't bore you too terribly much, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, and good night.